antenna allows those without a streaming provider to receive up to 50 channels absolutely free of charge, including Fox 46.1. The Ugly antenna is small and connects directly to your TV. Get the Ugly antenna for just $40. Call 704-682-1755. That's 704-682-1755 for the Ugly antenna.
Hello everyone, how is it going on this beautiful Wednesday? You're listening to the Scoreboard. 844 Studio 4 is the phone number. That's 844-788-3464. If you have something on your mind that you want to talk about, I'll be here for you. We're going to call it 53 minutes. Sound fair to you guys? I think it sounds fair to me. We got a good show lined up for you here today. Later on in the program, we're going to hear from Pine Lake Prep Athletic Director Brett Hayford. He's going to join us on the program. Call in to the show I'm expecting him here in about less than 10 minutes or so. We'll see. But we got other things going on in the world of sports as well. We're going to cover some high school today. We're going to focus on Pine Lake football going on. Not only football, though, soccer, volleyball, tennis, golf, cross country. We're going to talk all of those with as much time as we have with Brett Hayford in the second segment here. We are currently following a ongoing situation in Major League Baseball. The New York Mets are currently getting no hit. Yes, you heard me correctly. The New York Mets currently getting no hit. There is one walk in this game. There are no errors in the game. So he's just one shy of what could have been a possible perfect game. It happens. It does happen. We don't see perfect games all that much. That's why they're rare. That's why they're amazing. Last time we saw one, a couple of years, last year was it? The New York Yankees? Yeah, remember that? I know you remember the almost perfect game. I actually watched that 30 for 30 not long ago. I think I mentioned it on the Scoreboard. Anyway, we're not here to just talk about baseball and perfect games. We got a lot to get into today. It is Wednesday. We are a day away from Thursday night football, a pretty good Thursday night game at that. The Bills will be taking on the Dolphins. Yeah, the Bills and the Dolphins. That's a division game there. That's going to be a fun one. We have a little bit of NFL news that we're going to talk about. Some good, some bad. Yes, there is bad news today. Also, we're going to continue previewing NASCAR's race number 2 of round number 1 at Watkins Glen. There is a new tire compound that Goodyear is providing, and it's expected to have a lot of tire fall off. That's good. That means that drivers aren't going to be able to just push as hard as they want for the entire race. They're actually going to have to, have some craft. I don't know if you want to say that there's no craft involved in Atlanta, but drafting track, much different than a road course. Probably, in my opinion, the best road course on the NASCAR schedule. You get to turn right, you get to turn left. There's elevation change, beautiful scenery. I do wish that they would take the alternate layout, which IndyCar does, where you go and after the carousel, there's like an extra little portion of the track that they could do. They block it off and don't run that portion of the track, though. But I kind of wish they would. It'd be a nice little addition. They changed Sonoma not long ago, where they added the carousel. Why not change Watkins Glen a little bit? Also, like I said, we're going to be talking a lot of Pine Lake sports. Homecoming for Pine Lake is going to be coming up. The homecoming football game against Lake Norman Charter. That's going to be Friday, 7 o'clock. Pine Lake still looking for win number 1 on the football year. But we're going to start today by talking about Major League Baseball. And I do have an update for you as the Blue Jays and the Mets. I told you that there was a no-hitter that was in progress. Well, the no-hitter is no more. Francisco Lindor hits a grand slam. Hits a home run. Not a grand slam. It was a home run. Francisco Lindor hits a home run and breaks up the no-hitter. Not only that, he ties the game. So now it's 1-1. Another home run, and guess what? Yeah, the Blue Jays might lose a game in which they only give up 2 hits. That's tough. That is tough. But that is the update in the no-hitter watch. It is a no-hitter no more. Yesterday, we had a little bit of changes in the standings. Not really jumping positions much, but just more of this race got a little closer. This team pulled away a little bit more. That's to be expected day to day in the MLB. Right now, the Royals only 3.5 games behind the Guardians. That is a close race there. And in the wild card race, we see the Mets and the Braves currently tied. 79 wins, 66 losses for each of those teams. Now, the Mets are playing right now. Braves will be getting started first pitch not long from now. They're playing Washington, the Nationals. And first pitch in that one, 6:45 is when it's scheduled for. So we're continuing to monitor the Braves, see how they do on their march for the playoffs, possibly getting a nice wild card spot in a year, again, where they don't have Ronald Acuna Jr., which is a big loss for them. And they won a World Series without him already. So I can't tell you I'd be surprised if they make a good playoff run without him. They got a good, deep team. Man, that injury bug with Acuna, though, that's real tough. Other news from yesterday in Major League Baseball, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, pitcher for the LA Dodgers, made his return and looked pretty good in doing so. I don't know how the Dodgers are going to get beat in the postseason, especially as they start to get healthy. They played the Cubs last night and got the win 6-3. I don't see how anybody's going to beat that team in a 4 or in a 5-game series or even a 7-game series when we get to championship series and the World Series. I don't know how anybody's going to beat that team. And I picked them not like, I don't remember if I made a prediction for the Major League season. But I did tell you that the Dodgers, it would be a disappointment. It would be a massive disappointment to lose the World Series and not win the World Series this year. The goal is not to make the playoffs. The goal is not to make it to the World Series. The goal is to win the World Series. And with the roster that the Dodgers put together, it's not out of the question that that's what the expectation should be. That's where we're at right now with the Dodgers. They didn't have a great regular season, but then again, not everybody had a great regular season. I don't even think I could say that a single team was great with, what are we on? Today's the 11th. The season ends the 29th. 18 days before the season ends, the best team in baseball has 89 wins and 58 losses. 4 more losses for the best team in baseball. And guess what? They're not going to win 100 games. Nobody's going to win 100 games this year. It's been a really weird year for baseball. We'll keep an eye on those wild cards for you. We got to go to another commercial break here, but when we return, should be chatting with Brett Hayford, athletic director for Pine Lake Prep. You're going to want to hear this. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back after this.
More of Sports Director Joe Berg's The Scoreboard is coming up on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, the rest of our Wednesday evening is comfy, cool. Temperatures fall down into the low 60s overnight. Heading into our Thursday, we'll see increasing clouds, and it really becomes kind of an overcast day, especially by the afternoon, with high temperatures in the upper 70s. We'll mainly stay dry, but by Friday, bring a scattered shower chance back to the forecast, although the weekend doesn't look all that wet. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The WSIC app is available now wherever you get your apps, featuring local deals from great local businesses like Greystone Lodge in Boone.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Langtree Live in Mooresville presents Fortune 5 in concert on Thursday, September 12th. Fortune 5 won the Battle of the Bands this past spring and now makes their debut on the Langtree stage. Event time is 6:30 p.m. with music powered by Waves Entertainment starting at 7. Grab your friends, family, and lawn chairs. Enjoy the shopping and dining options while at Langtree. Don't miss the music of Fortune 5 this Thursday at Langtree Live. This Friday is the next edition of the Piedmont Healthcare Friday After 5 concert series. Downtown Statesville offers free entertainment to residents, neighbors, and visitors. This week's concert features the Camel City Yacht Club, 5 musicians devoted to bringing the finest smooth rock of the 70s and 80s to you. Friday After 5 is held in downtown Statesville on West Broad Street in front of Mitchell Community College from 6 p.m. to 8:30. Beer, wine, soft drinks, and food will be available for purchase beginning at 5 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy a night of music this Friday in downtown Statesville. The WSIC gang is back at Micaiah's in Mooresville for Trivia Night Tuesday, September 17th. Grab your squad, form your team, or come play solo. And join WSIC on-air personalities as we gather for a fun game of trivia. We'll see you September 17th at Micaiah's in Mooresville. The NHRA returns to ZMAX Dragway September 20th through the 22nd for the Carolina Nationals. When the temperature cools down, to keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Be a part of the conversation.
I listen on the way to work.
Have your say.
It's more than just opinions, it's facts.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
No radio? No worries.
Just ask Alexa to play WSIC.
Talk sports with Joe Berg. Call 844-STUDIO-4. It's the Scoreboard on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
And we're back here on the Scoreboard. 844-STUDIO-4. That's 844-788-3464. Waiting for our guest to ring in on the hotline. Going to be talking to Brett Hayford, Pine Lake Prep Athletic Director, in this segment. If we can hear from him, we'll see what ends up happening here. In the meantime, let's let you know what's going on in the world of baseball. I kept you up to date on the possible no-hitter that was in progress. The Mets and the Blue Jays in action. And, man, the Mets have made this incredible comeback in the standings here. They've gotten hot at the right time. And here they are getting no hit in a crucial game. Every game from here on out for the Mets has got to be one of the bigger games of their season. And as a matter of fact, even the announcers for the Mets are aware of this. Here is how it sounded a few minutes ago when the Mets tied the game with a home run in the top of the ninth on an 0-2 count to break up the no-hitter.
The home run to end it. That's driven to deep right field, and a home run ends this no-hit bid. Linsanity! Francisco Lindor ties the game with a ninth-inning home run.
And that's how it sounded on SNY. Lindor breaking up the no-hitter, one of the biggest hits of the Mets season, like we said. Let's go ahead and take a pause on that. I believe we're going to be joined by our guest of honor today. Hello, welcome to the Scoreboard. Coach, are you there? Oh, no. I guess he hung up on me. Well, that's okay. That's okay. 844 Studio 4. We're working it out here. We're working it out. I was going to let you guys in on the information here. Brett Hayford, athletic director for Pine Lake, he actually coached my high school team senior year for football. He was the head coach. He coached Pine Lake to their first ever varsity win in football. Yes, it was their first win when he coached all the way back in the 2014-2015 year. The final score of that first game that Pine Lake won in varsity history, 8-7. Man, it was a nail biter, huh? Who else had the game-winning touchdown but, well, yours truly? You're right. Yeah, it was me. It was me. But yeah, Coach Brett Hayford was the head coach of Pine Lake's football team back then. Got their first ever win. Let's talk a little Pine Lake sports while we have it ready, queued up to go as we wait for Brett to join us here on the Scoreboard. They're having some really good seasons here. The football team has gotten off to a bad start, tough start, 0-2 to start the year, but homecoming coming up against Lake Norman Charter this week, possibly turn things around and get their season in the right direction. The varsity soccer team is off to a 4-0-2 start. That's a pretty good start there. They've won a state title a few years ago. 2 years ago, I believe now, is when Pine Lake won that state title in soccer. Coach Ebenho over there, he was a teacher back when I was at Pine Lake, the coach of that team. Volleyball team 9-1 currently. And I was looking at some of the stats from the volleyball team. They are on fire right now. Like, absolutely on fire. They have only lost 2 sets in the entire year after their first loss of the year. So they lost game 1, 3-0 on sets. They didn't win a set. But since that, they've only dropped 2, and they've won every single one. 9-1 on the season. They're on a run here where they're not giving up very many sets as a team. And their next game against Corvian Community coming up tomorrow. That'll be at 6 o'clock, a home game for the Pine Lake volleyball team. The girls' tennis team is off to a great start as well. 4-1 to start their season. And not only that, they're 4-0 in conference. Great start to the season there for Pine Lake's girls' tennis team. The girls' golf squad has won all 4 matches so far to start the year. All 4 matches have been won by the girls' golf team. And the cross-country team seems to be off to a very good start as well, as I have been told. Still waiting for our guest today, Brett Hayford, to join us in studio. Hopefully hear from him soon. But while we wait for that to happen, we'll keep you updated on other things going on in the sports world. Like I said, Pine Lake Prep playing Lake Norman Charter in football this coming Friday. The squad for Lake Norman Charter, the Knights, off to a 2-0 start. They beat West Columbus 48-8 in week 1. And then last week, they beat Christ the King High School on the road. Final score 24-21 in that one, getting it done. Now they head to the road to play Pine Lake Prep in their homecoming game. The soccer team's season moves on, the boys' varsity soccer team. Tonight, they'll be taking on Christ the King, and actually that game is slated to start here in just about 30 minutes. They'll be on the road at Christ the King High School. Boys soccer team, 4 wins, 0 losses, 2 draws, 2 ties, however you want to call it, to start the year. Those ties were to St. Stephen's and Hopewell High School, which was the most, it happened in the most recent. Most recent games, I should say. Jumping back to baseball real quick, I still have this New York Mets, Toronto Blue Jays game up, and I'm monitoring it. In the top of the ninth, it is now 3-1 Mets. You heard me correctly. The Mets went from not having a single hit in the ball game through 8 innings to being up 3-1 on 2 hits. It doesn't matter how you win them. It just matters that you win them. Am I right? Looking at some other games for Pine Lake, the volleyball team, we talked about them being 9-1. Tomorrow they play Corvian Community. That'll be a home game at 6 o'clock. Their most recent game was yesterday against Langtree Charter, which is a conference game. Pine Lake's conference schedule this year, they've gotten off to a really good start in volleyball. Like a really good start in volleyball. 5-0 in the conference. Might be a team to beat this year, that volleyball team. We'll see. We will see. Now looking ahead to the girls' golf schedule, they placed first in their first 3 tournaments of the year. And they won the 4th as well, according to this. That reads a little bit weird, but they've won all 4 of their matches to start. The next time that they're going to play is going to be at Mooresville. CSAC match. Pine Lake will be hosting that one. Conference invite. That game will be a little bit later on, by the way. Not anytime this week. The 16th, still 5 days away. So that one's going to be on a Monday. For the girls tennis team, we want to highlight them as well. Currently 4-1 on the year, and they started the conference off strong, going 4-0. Again, just like the volleyball team, getting off to a really strong start in conference. Now, I say start because it is very early in the season, but the halfway point is coming up on us fast. Not only in soccer, in volleyball, but football and tennis, everything. We are moving through the season. Look, it is September now. Before you know it, winter sports are going to be starting up. I know the fall schedule seems like it kind of got to us and passed us. It hasn't passed us. We're still in the middle of the fall season. But games rapidly coming to a close, just in awe of how quick the season seems to have gone by this year. So a little love to Pine Lake Prep as we still wait for Brett Hayford to give us a call, the athletic director for the Pine Lake Pride. We are going to have to take a commercial break here in just a second. When we come back, we'll see. Maybe we'll be able to get in contact with our guest. May have to push that to another day. We'll see. We'll play it by ear. You know, we're here to have fun, right? No big deal whatsoever. What we will do is move on to another topic. I want to talk to you guys about these tires that NASCAR is going to have for the new tires for Watkins Glen. Remember, Watkins Glen, for the first time ever, is a playoff race, second race of the first round. We'll give you a standings update, just kind of refresh your memory. We'll go through the favorites for the race, because it's a little bit surprising, if you ask me, the favorites for this weekend. And then we'll talk about this new tire compound and what the expectations are for Watkins Glen. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to The Scoreboard. We'll be back after this.
Keep it right here. We'll have more of The Scoreboard with Joe Berg in just a moment from 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, the rest of our Wednesday evening is comfy, cool. Temperatures fall down into the low 60s overnight. Heading into our Thursday, we'll see increasing clouds, and it really becomes kind of an overcast day, especially by the afternoon, with high temperatures in the upper 70s. We'll mainly stay dry, but by Friday, bring a scattered shower chance back to the forecast, although the weekend doesn't look all that wet. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
With 5 area locations, Desco is your go-to resource for electrical supplies. Albemarle, Mooresville, Salisbury, Statesville, and Lexington. No matter where the job takes you, you're sure to be close to a Desco. Shop now at DescoInc.com.
Rev up your dreams with a bike from Tilly Harley-Davidson. Whether you're new to Harley or a seasoned pro, Tilly has the bike for you. Come experience the freedom of the ride. Feel the thrill of the road and the thunder that only a Harley can provide. Stop by Tilly Harley-Davidson of Statesville or go to TillyHD.com.
Bob McIntosh here with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Serving this community has been a collective passion of our law firm since 1997. We offer the quality legal services and results you would expect from a large downtown firm, but with a personal, community-focused approach right here at home. The McIntosh Law Firm, your local legal resource.
To learn more about the McIntosh Law Firm, visit McIntoshLawFirm.com.
We're at Black Automotive. The Buick Encore GX is now at a low 0.9% for 36 months or a $3,000 rebate. Or the Buick Envista is also 0.9% for 36 months. And there's more here at Black Automotive Statesville.
If you're a builder and you haven't went to Little Shaver's Wood Shop, you're missing all types of lumber products, hard to find woods and paneling materials that are in stock and ready to help you conquer anything the job throws your way. Locally owned, Little Shaver's Wood Shop has a friendly, knowledgeable staff to get you in, out, and on with your day. Little Shaver's Wood Shop, 3301 Salisbury Highway in Statesville. Little Shaver's Wood Shop, LILshavers.com.
Hello friends, this is Dwight with Gullion's Christian Supply and Homeschool Headquarters, inviting you to join the Gullion family and staff in praising the Lord for 30 years of providing you with trustworthy and inspiring books, Bibles, music, gifts, and supplies. We so appreciate your support and friendship over all these years. With locations in King and Statesville, North Carolina, visit us again soon for encouraging fellowship and essential provisions for your Christian life. Gullion's Christian Supply and Homeschool Headquarters, where the Bible stands.
I'm Bryce Johnson with this Unpacking It Sports and Faith Minute. When watching certain players or teams, we sometimes notice red flags that give us cause for concern about their chances for success down the road. But within our day-to-day relationships, do we pay attention to the red flags we observe in others? When we notice patterns of sin in someone's life, do we look the other way, or do we get involved in a way to help the person in the long run? The truth is, when we see a red flag, we need to respond. These types of situations require discernment, grace, and wisdom, but we must speak up when something's unacceptable. The Bible says, if another believer is overcome by some sin, you who are godly should gently and humbly help that person back onto the right path. Today, let's embrace the truth, seek justice, pursue integrity, and hold each other accountable. Most importantly, let's realize we can't help someone if we just look the other way. I'm Bryce Johnson, and you can unpack that. For more, go to unpackingit.com.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Inflation ticked up a bit last month due to higher prices for housing and travel. The so-called core consumer price index, excluding food and energy costs, increased 0.3% from July. That's the most in 4 months. It likely means when the Fed meets next week, policymakers will stick with a quarter-point interest rate cut. After starting the day in the red, tech lifted the markets. The Nasdaq was up 370 or 2.1%. The S&P added 59 or 1%. The Dow gained 125 or a third percent. You did see the impact of last night's debate on Wall Street today. Shares in Trump media were down close to 10.5%. OpenAI is in talks to raise $6.5 billion from investors. That's according to those familiar with the plans that would bring AI's valuation up to $150 billion. Its list of investors includes Microsoft, Apple, and NVIDIA. The discussions are said to still be underway. I'm Nancy Lyons, Bloomberg Radio.
Talk sports with Joe Berg. Call 844-STUDIO-4. It's the Scoreboard on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Segment 3 here on the Scoreboard. Past the halfway mark. We're having fun on the program. Putting a spotlight on Pine Lake earlier in the day. Still waiting to hear from Athletic Director Brett Hayford. I believe we may end up rescheduling. It seems like we have a problem getting in contact with him. No problem at all. We will see what we can do in the future. Try to reschedule, get him back on the air. Maybe he's a student athlete as well. Maybe we'll see what we can do. Update. Back to baseball. The Mets and the Blue Jays. Remember, going into the 8th inning, the New York Mets were down 1-0. 0 hits in the ball game. We're in the bottom of the 9th now, and the score is 6-1 Mets. What happened? Blue Jays falling apart in the top of the 9th. Man. That's a tough pill to swallow right there. It is. Because not only has the no-hitter been broken up, which, it's tough. It is when you look at it. You have a no-hitter going, and it gets broken up in the top of the 9th inning. That's definitely tough. But not only that, now you get pinned with the loss. Man, I feel bad. I do. Bowden Francis, by the way, was the pitcher for the Mets. Ends up with 8 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 1 walk. He only struck out 1 batter in the game. You heard that correctly. He had a no-hitter going into the 9th and only 1 strikeout in the game. That's a tip of the hat to the team. It's also, bad luck for the Mets. Just it seems like everything that they were hitting was going to an infielder or a fly ball to the outfield. They just couldn't find the hole. And all of a sudden, they chased the starter finally after the first pitch, or the first batter, I should say, of the 9th inning. And then what follows? Well, Chad Green comes in for the Blue Jays, and things went downhill from there. He gave up 4 runs. Then, after that, one more pitcher, Genesis Cabrera, comes in, gives up 1 more run. And now we have a 6-1 ball game. It changes that fast. I genuinely am shocked at how fast the Mets went from, oh my goodness, this is bad. We are on a roll. We need to win every game for the rest of the year, basically. Now, they don't have to, obviously, but they want to. That way, there's no question whether or not they make the playoffs or not. But, man, you put together this great run to start September to end August, and now you're getting no hit. And, nope, we're going to keep winning some ball games. Now, the game's not over yet. I will say the game is not over yet. Bottom of the 9th, runner on first for the Blue Jays. No outs, but they're down 5. Just because this has been an interesting game, I'm going to continue to monitor it and give you updates on it. At this point, though, I do want to focus our attention elsewhere. I want to let you know what's going on at Watkins Glen this weekend. Race number 2 of the round of 16 for the NASCAR Cup Series this Sunday, 3 p.m. A new tire compound is expected to change how the track drives. They also changed the curbing in the bus stop. Now, I told you about this one not long ago. There was a mouthpiece that the drivers would put in their mouths, and it would actually register force and how much forces they are having on their body as they go through the bus stop, as they go, to the carousel and go through there are some big curbs on that Watkins Glen track. They shaved them down a little. They changed it a little bit because apparently the drivers were getting thrown around in the race car in there. So a little bit different look, I would assume, as we get to Watkins Glen. But not only that, the tire compound is going to be the biggest story. Now, here's what I have to tell you today. The tire tread is expected to create approximately 3 seconds worth of fall off time from the start of a run to the end of a run. Now that means if your first lap you run 1 minute and 18 seconds, by the time you're at the end of either the tire run or the fuel run, you're going to be running like 1 minute and 21. That's a big difference between new and old tires. And, I like listening to all of the Dirty Mo Media podcast with the drivers. I don't really listen to Door Bumper Clear. Reasons, not a fan of those guys at all. Not a fan of those guys. But I do listen to Hamlin and Junior on their podcast, and I was listening to Denny talk about flipping a stage and how at a road course, a lot of times, if you're going for the win, you'll see a driver pit, maybe the leader pit with coming off of the final corner, coming to 2 to go in the stage. Once the leader takes that 2 to go in the stage, the pits are closed, but they pit before it closes. They come out, they don't go a lap down, obviously, because it's a road course. You save tires for 2 laps, and then you stay out when the stage ends. Denny Hamlin brought up a really good point to where if the tire fall off is what it sounds like it's going to be, we might not see that because those 2 laps that you're riding around trying not to burn up your stuff, you're still going to burn up your stuff. It's just not going to be as bad as if you were, running as hard as you can up front. But you are still going to have a problem where you burn up your equipment, and even when you stay out and the guys in front of you pit and you cycle around to the lead, you might not be able to hold on to the lead. It could be a really interesting race. Now, this tire was tested. There was a 3-team, 2-day tire test, June 26th and 27th. Goodyear provided 6 different compounds, 4 of which were developmental compounds, by the way. The drivers in the test were Austin Cindric, Daniel Suarez, and Tyler Reddick. Now, you might also notice that all 3 of those drivers are in the playoffs. Reading over some of the results of the tire test, there was a lot of single car spins as the drivers tried to figure out the limits of the compound, but it seems like there's not a big red flag being flown by the drivers that were a part of the tire test. Because of that, I'm cautiously optimistic. I am. Watkins Glen usually produces a pretty good race for a road course, in my opinion. But with this new tire compound, it could be even better. So I'm cautiously optimistic as we go into the second race of the playoffs in the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. Quick points update for you. Joey Logano has clinched his way through with a win. Ryan Blaney, 45 points away from that playoff cut line. Then it's Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, William Byron, Alex Bowman, Austin Cindric, Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, and Ty Gibbs currently in the top 12. Hamlin and Gibbs 2 and 1 point above the cut line respectively. And then below that cut line in 13th through 16th, Brad Keselowski, Harrison Burton, Martin Truex Jr., and Chase Briscoe. It's going to be a fun Sunday. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We got one more commercial break on the program here today. When we come back, we're going to wrap things up, talk a little bit of news, as there are some news stories in sports you should know about. We'll talk about this day in history, and we'll send you off into the night. Don't go anywhere. We're back after this.
Keep it right here. We'll have more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg in just a moment from 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Well, the rest of our Wednesday evening is comfy, cool. Temperatures fall down into the low 60s overnight. Heading into our Thursday, we'll see increasing clouds, and it really becomes kind of an overcast day, especially by the afternoon, with high temperatures in the upper 70s. We'll mainly stay dry, but by Friday, bring a scattered shower chance back to the forecast, although the weekend doesn't look all that wet. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Langtree Live in Mooresville presents Fortune 5 in concert on Thursday, September 12th. Fortune 5 won the Battle of the Bands this past spring and now makes their debut on the Langtree stage. Event time is 6:30 p.m. with music powered by Waves Entertainment starting at 7. Grab your friends, family, and lawn chairs. Enjoy the shopping and dining options while at Langtree. Don't miss the music of Fortune 5 this Thursday at Langtree Live. This Friday is the next edition of the Piedmont Healthcare Friday After 5 concert series. Downtown Statesville offers free entertainment to residents, neighbors, and visitors. This week's concert features the Camel City Yacht Club, 5 musicians devoted to bringing the finest smooth rock of the 70s and 80s to you. Friday After 5 is held in downtown Statesville on West Broad Street in front of Mitchell Community College from 6 p.m. to 8:30. Beer, wine, soft drinks, and food will be available for purchase beginning at 5 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy a night of music this Friday in downtown Statesville. The WSIC gang is back at Micaiah's in Mooresville for Trivia Night Tuesday, September 17th. Grab your squad, form your team, or come play solo and join WSIC on-air personalities as we gather for a fun game of trivia. We'll see you September 17th at Micaiah's in Mooresville. The NHRA returns to ZMAX Dragway September 20th through the 22nd for the Carolina Nationals. When the temperature cools down, the excitement heats up at the Bellagio of drag strips. Every ticket is a pit pass, giving fans unmatched access to the drivers and crews who power the NHRA's thunderous 11,000 horsepower machines to their limits. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for information, tickets, and details. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
Folks, here at Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville, we have got the brand new 2025 Chevrolet Traverse in stock, all redesigned from front to back, top to bottom, inside and out. Come see them today. We have got a great selection of these new Traverses ready for you to take home. And also, we got great discounts on our Silverado trucks. We got the regular cab, crew cab, double cabs, discounted up to $9,000 off. Great selection, Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville, right on I-40.
Now more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, final segment on the Scoreboard on this beautiful Wednesday. Hope everybody's having a good day. We are now going to be joined by our guest for the day, Pine Lake Athletic Director Brett Hayford. You on the line with me?
I am.
All right. Well, good to talk to you today. Now, I got to say, I know you aren't anymore, but I still have to call you Coach, okay? Is that all right?
Well, you probably don't know, but I am also coaching the defense again this year. That came out of retirement just for this year.
Oh my goodness. How's the team looking? How are we looking this year?
Well, we're young. So we've had 2 rough games so far. I mean, I think we played 2 pretty good teams. We played South Lake Christian, and believe it or not, we drove 3.5 hours to play a team called Roanoke Rapids up on the north part of the state. Last year we lost the game at the last second, and we were looking for somebody to play, and Roanoke had also lost the team, so we just matched up, and they drove that 3 hours last year, so we drove the 3.5 hours this year. So,
wow.
But we took the big charter bus and made it a big deal for them, but went up there and they had 18 seniors and we have 6. So they had a little more experience than us and kind of wore us down as the game went on. I think it was 35-21 was the final. So, but pretty good though, considering. So.
Yeah. Sounds like it. I mean, you got.
But you can call me Coach again. So.
Well, I do appreciate it. All right, give me the Mount Rushmore of Pine Lake football. Come on, let's do it.
What's the Mount Rushmore of Pine Lake football?
Let's hear it. Come on.
You gonna?
I'm putting you on the spot early.
Well, Mr. Cook, I can't remember his first name. What's his first name?
Austin.
Definitely one of the best running backs ever had. Austin
yeah.
Cook. So you'd say Austin Cook. Taylor Hawkman, Todd Harwood, and then we have a quarterback. I want to say, you're going to laugh at me, but the sophomore quarterback we have right now may be that guy by the end of the world. But a lot of good players. Don't get me wrong. Going back, it's just even the guys like the Ned Hulls and those people. You just always remember, and great experiences, great fun.
Not
putting
a certain defensive, offensive player
Berg
on
wasn't
there.
too bad either.
There we go.
Joe Berg wasn't too bad either. He made some plays, right? So.
You had the honor of being the head coach of the team when they got not only their first regular season varsity win, but also the first ever playoff win. Thinking back to that season, and then we'll move on to current times.
Yeah.
But thinking back to that season, your first year, I believe, as the head coach, right? Yes.
That's correct. Yep.
What was the most memorable part of that run of that season, from first win of the year to first playoff win for the team? What really stuck with you?
I look back at that first year, and it was not sure we won some games, but it was watching you guys learn the game of football. I think we did some things that you guys, as the players, and you were obviously, I think it's junior or senior that year. I can't even remember. Was it senior, junior?
Yeah, I was a senior that year.
Yeah, but you guys were you were just anxious to find anything to get better.
Yeah, hey, that team got much better.
So we did some different things, and I don't think you ever at the beginning. I don't think everybody believed that that they personally believed that they could do what we were asking. But when we went up to scrimmage, I don't know if you remember going to West Wilkes, and we scrimmaged and we scored a bunch of touchdowns, and a guy named Ty Sheen scored a couple, and we had some good things happen there, and then we ended up beating the Vance JV team, and then winning our first one up at what was that?
That was Atkins.
Name now. Atkins, and we won 8-6, and just the smiles of your guys' faces and the excitement you had to play the game of football, but also, I mean, you guys were a tight knit group, and I think it was a really cool environment. Get better, and honestly, I'll never forget the playoff game because we were at North Mech and it was probably like 2 degrees with a wind chill of -20. It was so cold. And at halftime we were losing, and I kind of looked at Coach Leahy, our offense coordinator. I said, just run the ball like we always do because it's really cold and I need to get into some warmth. And we came out in the second half and did everything right and ended up winning by 2 or 3 touchdowns. And it was excitement to see. And for me, it was coming from Davidson College. It was the excitement of seeing a school that hadn't won any football games to having some chance to be successful, going to the playoff and winning a game. But it was not only your guys, it was the parents' faces, it was the students' faces, it was the staff faces. It was just an exciting time. It was really cool.
It really was.
It was awesome to be a part of.
Yeah, I have nothing but good memories from that run. Down 21-16 at halftime. Final score of that playoff game, 38-21. Really gave it to him in the second half.
I can't believe you remember the score, dude. I can't believe you remember that unless you just pulled that up.
I'm looking at the stats right now. All right. Enough.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
that's great.
That was great. Okay, enough of the past. Right now, Pine Lake Sports are doing pretty good from what you sent me on the fall sports. Volleyball having a great start to their year. Soccer team yet to lose a game so far. Is there general excitement on campus right now with all the sports teams performing pretty well?
There is, and there's become almost I don't want to say expectation, but, we've won the Wells Fargo Cup 3 of the last 4 years, which is the overall, you get points for every season, how far you go, what your records are, conference, playoffs, things like that. Last year we got second to Seaforth, who ended up beating us in the state championship in golf and women's soccer. If we win one of those, I think we would have won the Wells Fargo again for the 4th straight year. But, yes, there's a lot of expectations. I mean, we are the respect, responsibility, commitment are 3 words, and our kids have really bought into that. But, volleyball this year is 9-1 and only lost to Lake Norman Charter, who's undefeated at the 3A level. Our soccer team's been very good over the last 4 or 5 years and have been playing, schools like Hopewell and bigger schools and have done quite well as well, and have tied the last 2, matter of fact, with, I believe it was Hopewell and Newton Conover. So, then golf and tennis have been really successful. I had to fill in as our varsity tennis coach because our coach was having some a medical emergency we took care of, but they're rolling along. They're 5-0 in the conference, and so is golf and cross country. And yeah, the expectations are there to be good. But I mean, for me, it's all just doing it the right way. If you can, show some respect, commitment, responsibility, then your records are going to take care of itself. Is what I always say.
Yeah, and with the school having so many teams with a good record, is it somewhat of a responsibility, or do you feel like for what you do as the athletic director, as far as putting student athletes out there as possible recruits, is that something that you look into and you manage all of that and try to get some of these players recruited?
Well, I do the best I can with my coaches and make sure they are able to, obviously have all the, Instagram, Snapchats, all that kind of stuff, make sure they get their kids' statistics out there. But we are getting a lot of questionnaires, mailings, phone calls from places all over the United States, from college and universities about our kids, which is really exciting.
Do you have any specific student athletes on mind? I know it's kind of top ahead, but anybody we should be looking at?
We haven't had anybody sign yet, but I will tell you, we probably have, I would think, 3 to 4 fall athletes, probably a golf, soccer, maybe a tennis, possibly 1 or 2 football players that are looking to play at the next level and should have that opportunity. It'll be a really cool opportunity for them.
Definitely.
And then the basketball team. Our basketball team is going to have some seniors as well that are going to have some opportunities to go compete at the next level as well.
Well, that'll be fun when we get into basketball season to
Yes.
follow along with that.
It's not that far away, Joe, believe it or not. I keep looking at the calendar. I'm like, geez, we're a month away from playoffs for some of our volleyball and tennis already, so it's coming quick.
I was just mentioning not 20 minutes ago on the show how fast it feels like this fall season has gone.
Yes.
We're already almost at the halfway point. Playoffs around the
That's
corner,
correct.
and then the winter's here. It's so fast
Yeah.
how quick these sports turn over in high school.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially when you get for my situation, it's just you get into a weekly rhythm, and it just seems to go by so quick.
Yeah,
So quick.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So,
All right. What
yep.
team are we going to be keeping our eye on for the most part as we move into playoffs? Who's looking to move deep into those playoffs and maybe compete for a state title?
Well, you're going to laugh at me, but I think we have a couple, not a bunch, but we have a few. I really believe that our golf team, our girls golf team who won the state last year, is returning everybody. So they have a very good opportunity to do so. They won almost, I think, 4 of their 5 matches that they've played. When I say matches, it's a combined conference match. So there's 5 or 6 teams at each one of those matches. Our tennis team is young. We have a bunch of freshmen, but they are going to complement the upperclassmen, and we have a chance to win our conference and go. But the 2 teams I think you really need to watch for Pine Lake this year are going to be our boys soccer team, who's been very good year in, year out, probably the last 6-7 years. Coach Ebenho, which you probably know, is still here coaching both the boys and girls. But I'm really excited to see what our volleyball team does. We have a new coach this year named Claire Polk. You may get a chance to talk to her. I did tell her that you may be calling her, but she's fantastic. And we have a great group of girls that are playing really, really well. And, I don't get a lot of chance to watch a lot of volleyball as a football coach, but when I do this year, they're exciting to watch, and they're doing a really good job.
Well, Coach,
they had a 21 set streak until the last match, which they did lose a set, but won 3-1.
Yeah, I saw that. They were on a roll. Well, hey, Coach, I do appreciate you joining me today. We're coming up on the end of the show quickly, but I do appreciate you taking time out of your day to have a chat about Pine Lake sports with me.
Always a pleasure, Joe.
Absolutely.
Glad to see what you're doing for sports in the area, and we'll have to catch up again soon.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful day.
You got it.
And everybody, thanks for tuning in today. I'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. Have a good night.
Serving you better than ever before. 105.9 100.7 WSIC, Statesville, Morris.